Oh, Tracy. Oh, Tracy. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. This is the first, after 30 something of these conversations in Spanish. My dear friend Tracy, you're the first one in English. It's so good to see you, and you'll see why you're here today. How are you, Tracy? Good to see you, my
I'm
friend.
doing great. It's great to hear from you again and to be reconnected and being able to talk and be genuine with one another as we always are.
I just saw you, Tracy, and I meant it. I told you before we started. Tracy, if that's what retirement is gonna do for me, I'm looking forward to it. I just told you, you look like 10 years younger. You look phenomenal, my friend. You do. What's
Thank
going
you.
on? Is it is it like you have time now to exercise, your diet
Yes.
change, the stress
Yes,
levels?
everything,
What's
all of
going
that.
on?
All of that. Yeah, you have more time to do the things that you want to do or the things you keep saying you're going to do but you just don't do. So, getting long walks and kayaking, riding bike, doing yard work. Yard work is hard work. Um, but yeah, just eating right and just I used to get like less than 2,000 steps in a day. When I was sitting behind a desk for 12 hours a day. And so now I'm at least 10,000 steps a day
Oh my God.
just by doing stuff. So I'm doing great.
That is wonderful, my friend. So the reason why you're here today, and by the way, people who the people who follow us and they've seen this before, it's as always. Tracy doesn't know what we're gonna be talking about. We just start, and this is just a conversation as always. And Tracy, just with you, what we have experienced is that it grows the conversation. That we call it frecuencia de tres, which in English I think it's gonna be. I don't know if it's really frequency of three or frequency from three. I don't know even how to say it, but in Spanish is that's the spirit. Is two or more people, and you'll see what happens. And it's been awesome. The conversations and
Is somebody
what.
else going to join us?
No, 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 not today. This is too
Oh, okay.
special.
Okay.
You're
Uh,
the star of the show
You're like,
today.
oh, oh my goodness. Okay.
Only you. And Tracy is something amazing that has happened. Is consistent and is a magic and is a promise that we'll talk about this. So I'll get started right away because this is exactly what I wanted to say from the beginning before we keep talking. It's a thank you, and I do hope that you remember a conversation. Oh my God, Tracy! If of course maybe you remember. Tracy, those of you listening, Tracy was my supervisor for some time. She's retired now. But I've told people, Tracy, that our conversations, our meetings, if it was, 1 hour, 30 minutes or more, was talking about life and the universe and love and books. And it was wonderful. And we kept talking about it. And you asked me, interesting and questions. And one of the reasons why this exists, and this is a reality today, these podcasts, videos, conversations, is you. It is you. So I really wanted to do this and say just thank you for the inspiration. And thank you for pushing me, actually, almost forcing me to do it. And you made me feel, which I always kind of felt, but you made me feel that it's an obligation, it's a responsibility to do this. And one day you said something, Tracy. I don't know if I'm gonna find a word. We're in the middle of a conversation, and you said something like, "When you keep feeling is like it's not an itch. I'm trying to find the word, but you said something about if you feel like uncomfortable, like there is something, Jose, that it keeps bothering you, and you hear it like in the back of your head, that is that it will never leave you alone until you do it. I don't remember the word that you said, but the message was clear. It's like Jose is there. This was not even a reality. The conversations about frecuencia de tres or frequency of three. It was not. Not even there. We talked, we had the conversations, but it was never something like this, what it is today. By the way, I've said this before, this is something that I will continue. doing for the rest of my life because of how beautiful it has been for me and for the people involved. So again, thank you. And I don't know if you remember that, Tracy, but in addition to thank you, I have it here, Tracy, right on the screen. This is also your inspiration. So you inspired this, and we've talked about this, Tracy. Sometimes, we don't realize how important our words, our friendship, our advice can be. We just have to say what we have to say, and you said it. So that's my introduction today. Do you remember that, Tracy? Do you remember what you told me? Because I cannot find the exact word that you said that day. I cannot. But it was something like that, that if you feel an itch or that you are not at peace, I don't remember the word. Do you remember that?
You're giving me a lot of credit here, and I'll be happy to take it. I will. But I just remember back in the day when we first started out, obviously we talked about work, 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 work. And I was wanted to make sure that I was helping you to get to the places that you wanted to be. So I remember asking you the basic questions of, hey, where do you want to be in 5 years, whatever. And you told me you wanted to be the Latin Wayne Dyer. So that was the trigger for what happened after all of that, because
Wow.
I have read all of Wayne Dyer's books. I love Wayne Dyer. So The Power of Intention and all manifesting. So that was the beginning of the conversations that ended up taking different turns. Work was work. We covered our work when we needed to cover the work, for sure. But when it came time to really understanding, and you said something to me that you wanted to do it when you were 50, you had to wait until you were 50 years old. And I just kept asking, why do you feel like you needed to wait until you're 50? Like, what
Yeah.
experiences do you need between now and then that's going to set you up to do that? Um, so it was those types of questions that I think we were talking about. And then the other part was just that if you don't, we have these inklings, we have these ideas, we have these things. And I guess what I'm a firm believer in is if you don't act on it, somebody else will. And maybe it was something along those lines, that the universe wants to express itself. God wants to express itself through you, through other people, and through your talents and your abilities. And I guess I feel that if you're not the one to do it, somebody else will be the one to do it. They'll be the messenger. And I think that was way, way, way back in the very beginning when we first started having these conversations. And in the big scheme of things, um, yes, we had a lot of questions. Yes, we talked a lot about a lot of things, but in the end, you took the action and you did it. You took the action. A lot of people talk about a lot of things, they don't do it. You did it. So I'm happy for your inspiration, but that was already inside of you all along the way. So
Thank you, Tracy. Now you see, guys, people, why I love Tracy so much. Now it's it's um it's special, Tracy, and I don't think, yes, and I do remember those words, and I hope that in this lifetime or maybe the next, I can even get closer to Wayne Dyer. If I said that,
you
uh,
did.
it, it was with the best of intentions, and with some humility that even some friends have told me to have, and that I knew one day was very specific and clear, that even those angels that I have, I'm no longer gonna say I think I have. I do have my angels, and I was told that to make sure that I never take credit for the beauty of the words, because they don't belong to me,
Hmm.
and even the love. And it was a clear message, Tracy. So you're part of all that. But to be specific, if you said that, which I'm absolutely sure you did, see what maybe in my you know unconscious mind I kept thinking about it, and it did kind of that work. But I clearly remember something that you said that I think was very, very powerful. When you come to this planet to do something, it's like you will, and I do remember that. In addition, maybe you don't remember the second piece, and maybe because we talked a lot.
Right, right,
Oh, Tracy, it was a lot, but you did say something that really is what I remember, is
right.
what clicked. Because you can tell me 100 things, but that day you said something around like, if you don't do it, Jose is gonna keep bothering you. It's right in your ear that you have to do it. You have to do it. It'll be there for your whole life, and you'll feel that you have to until we did it. So thank you, Tracy. I'll add something to that, and I want people to know who you are a little bit. But before we get to that, and it could be a short, this is nothing formal like at work,
Oh,
like a formal intro or anything like that. But I do want to know too. But I'll tell you what this is for the people listening to us today. What a unique relationship, and I have it here. I do have the best memories of every project with you, especially two things that we did that is still today one award-winning project that if you
yes, we did.
remember,
Yes, we
yes,
did.
an award-winning project that it was huge, that is still part of the business, Tracy. And the other project that we loved, that feedback loops and continuous improvement, it was a philosophy, it was powerful, it was beautiful.
Hmm.
So working together, I can just imagine both of us doing something else, and it would be wonderful and successful. And I wonder. So this is where I'm going, and you tell me what you think about friendship. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I don't even know today if that's the right word to use. He was telling me, one of my best friends, actually, he's one of the founders of this Frecuencia de Tres. And he told me, man, you've been my friend forever. I don't need to be talking to you. And maybe we don't talk for months, but when I see you and when we see each other, it's like we were never away from each other. We can, catch up quickly. We feel comfortable. It's we can talk. We don't complain about you didn't call me or I didn't call you. It's not even part of our conversation. And you'll see where I'm going with this and how special this can be and how I see it different today. I had a talk, a meeting, one of those catch ups with Cassie. You remember Cassie from work?
Yes, yes.
It's we have nothing like in common from different countries, different backgrounds, everything different, like with you. But that day we had such a great conversation, and Cassie, I hope you remember
I do.
that we said, "Oh, you know what, Jose? It's about energy. Frequency is being about that." And today, what I think about you, and that's why I put it there, a unique relationship that is all about. She says something like this, Tracy. It's about energy. It's about energy. So I think that it's not even friendship. It's I think that some human beings, what unlikely friendship between the two of us. You're here with me today, and I'm happy that you're here talking to me, and I want to listen to you too. But it changed. It clicked. It was something that she said or I said. I don't even remember. But we said something about is how you vibrate. Is your level of energy, your frequency. Some human beings, when they are loving people, when the way we think is alike, really, the way we work together, we clicked. It's totally different backgrounds, totally different people for some reason. And she said there is something beautiful about energy, about frequency, and how you just feel comfortable with some people. And that's what I feel with you. Any thoughts about that, Tracy? Before we I show you something magical.
Okay. I do agree from day one, but I think part of that was your openness and the way that you communicate love and make everybody feel very comfortable and welcome and included. And in every project that we were in, no matter what it was that we were doing, you were always like the warm and fuzzy in the room. You could mediate the entire room and make everybody feel like $1,000,000. And I think that has a lot to do with you and your energy. Your energy probably helped my energy raise up, if that makes any sense.
Oh, Tracy, thank you. That's actually awesome. Thank you for saying that, Tracy. I'll take it as a beautiful, wonderful compliment. And I think I do it, but again, I need to be careful about not to be too proud about things like that. Just live my life like that. But thank you, Tracy. And you'll see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
It connects with
All
something
right.
else. It
All
connects
right.
Things don't worry. It'll keep moving in this direction that I think is just beautiful. So now look at this with Chris Pacini. Of course, you remember Chris
Of
Pacini,
course, yes.
a wonderful friend. We talked about this too, and this is not a religious conversation. It's not about religion today, but it's something beautiful. And I think that this 2,000 years ago, I've talked about this with my friends in multiple calls because we have experienced this, Tracy. It's been beautiful. It's now a suggestion, something that I'm sharing with friends and telling them, man, find a friend, find someone, a person that really you can talk to about things that matter. Not only about work, not only about technology, not only about Netflix, but have discussions about the meaning of life, meaningful things. Find a
Hmm.
topic. It's just a gift. And it's about this. Matthew, for those of you who are walking, as always, I'll read it because you're not looking at the screen. Matthew, I think it says 18 to 20, but I think it was specifically 20. For where two or three gather in my name, there am I with them. There am I with them. I. And the conclusion after so many of these conversations, even with you today, Tracy, is back in the day. I think that, of course, that was a special soul, one of the most special souls in the world, maybe eternal, loving, knowing all, Son of God, the way we call him, right? But I think he couldn't say back in the day, it's all about frequency and it's all about energy because you see, electricity and the sound and waves, and you can take a picture of people with a special lens, and you can see the auras and you can see the colors, and now we know that the heart, we have a magnetic field, our hearts. So he knew all that back in the day, 2,000 years ago. Nobody knew that. So you cannot talk about energy.
Right.
So he's saying, I am with them. I am with them, Tracy, when two or more, when Tracy and Jose gather in my name. I'll finish with this and I'll let you share your thoughts. Then who is that person? Is that a person? Does it mean that he's going to be sitting here with us, or is it your house or my house? Is it physically? No, you're there in Philadelphia. I'm here in Miami. I don't think that's what he meant. It's like, and look what I found then. I was connected. I'm like, okay, how do you communicate that message to let people know what is the purpose of your life? And here you see something that doesn't mention money, doesn't mention success, doesn't mention work. And he says who he was. I am the way and the truth and the life. And no one comes to the Father except through me. To the Father, Tracy. To God, right?
Right.
To God. Except through me. So through what? Through me is like talking about the right way, talking about the truth. He reveals when you talk to people like you, when we talk, life happens. Truth is revealed. It flows to you. There is an understanding. And if you keep doing it and love is present, I think that's when you reach that joy, that pure joy of getting closer to God. Even if you don't make it there all the way to that door. But that's, again, and sorry, I don't want to offend anyone who is religious and they talk about Jesus and God. I know that some people feel that way. With all my respect, I think a little bit different, but it's not against anybody. It's
So
just
are
a
you
pure
you're
feeling.
associating this with energy? Is that what that Jesus is the energy? The Jesus energy? Is that what you're
Like others, I think that Jesus is love, Tracy. That's what
right.
I is pure energy. Is I don't think that Jesus or God. Have you seen the pictures for from the new telescope? How many
Right.
millions and billions of
Yes.
galaxies, Tracy?
Right. Yeah.
So it's when we evolve as human beings, and you start seeing that. It's like is the energy that is all over the universe. Is that love that what makes you feel joy when you love, when you receive love, when you talk about love. So
Mhm.
yes, you can say Jesus or God. To me, is so powerful if we all understand that is just love, and you cannot call it a name or a religion. To me, you
Mhm.
cannot put a name on that. You just love, and that to me is all over the universe. And now I can understand, yes, if you talk about that, it makes total sense that you let love, flow through you. You behave with love, you treat people with love. So it's like love is doesn't belong to you, but it passes through you,
Right. Just like
right?
the spirit, when you have an intention, you're intending that, whatever comes through you is like you're the vehicle.
The vessel, sometimes you hear
You're the
that.
vessel.
But
And
again, it's really, I know I have friends, and this was not, by the way, this is about you. It was not a religious conversation. All I'm talking about is the power. What we found with this, and my suggestion to people is find people like Tracy. I'm lucky to have you in my life that I can call you. And I know at the beginning you were like, hey, with no video, Jose, please, I don't want to be on but you're
but
here today.
I think it's what's interesting, Jose, is when you're talking about just having genuine conversations, being open to one another, being open to differing opinions and not necessarily agreeing with every single thing that each person says, but just being open to, an open a mindset to be able to, evaluate it and try to bring it into your life. But I just want to say that, years ago, and we had some conversation, I don't know what it was, but toward the end of the call, you said to me, Trace, did you see that movie Avatar? And I said, yes. And you said, I see you.
Oh, shoot, yes.
And I'll be honest with you, I
Wow.
got choked up a little bit, and I could even get choked up thinking about it right now because that was probably one of the nicest things anybody's ever said to me. I mean, people tell you they love you, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But to have somebody say and mean it, I see you, it was it was a totally different experience. And I try to make sure that I say that to people periodically if I'm having a conversation with them, that it's, that they've kind of been vulnerable, or they've, they put themselves out there a little bit. And, you know, to me, that was like one of the most beautiful things that you can say to somebody. I see you. So when you're talking about relationships, you're talking about energy, you're talking about people that are getting together and having um, you know, heavy, deep, and real conversation. It's just putting yourselves out there and being brave enough to be vulnerable and being open enough to accept people's vulnerability. And I think you have been that with me, and I feel like I have been that with you. There was some sort of trust early on that was evident, um, and I think we built upon that. And obviously, there's energy in there, right? There's energy. We've had challenges. We've had a lot of challenges along the way, and we've had a sense of humor through them, right?
Always, Tracy. Incredible, right? Learn lessons about life and work, about everything. We never took it personal.
But do you remember that when you said that to me?
I do
You know,
remember that. I do remember that.
I don't even remember what the conversation was because at the time I don't know that I said anything, you know, prolific or anything. But when you said that, it totally, like, totally moved me.
And even what I'm feeling right now, I understand why I would say that. I do remember when we were saying goodbye to Tracy before that call, the last call before your retirement. And I was trying. I waited a lot because I was like, man, I just want to be like, crying in front of all these people. And I think I pulled it off. I was able to say what I wanted to say without choking, or I did it. But that's exactly what has been happening, Tracy, and the magic of these talks. You get to what we always said with friends from Colombia is that when you do that, when you talk about love, and you start introducing that word, love, truth, life, I'm the way. You mentioned Jesus, you mentioned God. Those words have power. They have a frequency. And look, we're not talking about, we the beginning was thank you, Tracy. It was not about love or Jesus or any of, but it happens naturally. And that's the beauty of what happens. And if we keep talking for 2 hours, Tracy, which we've done before, these work meetings, I can stay with you the whole night. And I always gravitated, to you. If I'm there, I always ended up sitting with you and Catherine Mapes, and maybe Nate was there.
Oh, right.
Remember, with a glass of
Yeah.
wine,
Oh,
always having a good time.
yeah.
But that's what happens. Is there is an energy, there is a frequency, there is a beauty, and to me, if I don't remember the exact day, I do remember that I said it,
Mhm.
and I can assure you that I meant it, and it was perfect at that time, and it's exactly what I wanted to say to you, because we talked a lot before. We haven't talked in, Tracy, I don't even know, more than a year, and even remember before that we were in different teams.
Right, right.
So we stopped talking for maybe 3 years, Tracy, or more. So this is it. This is coming back to you, and to feeling that special connection, and that it's all about energy and the beauty of this channel, Frecuencia de Tres, Tracy, that has been magical. And I do have a very fun memory, and I wanted to I want you to share that with our friends that are listening to us today. We're almost done. I'm sure you'll remember this.
Prayer of Jabez. Yes, yes.
Oh my God. I had it on my fridge. My daughter memorized that. She can tell you that. And I don't know if it's related to why this happened. I have it here. Actually, let me just show it to you, Tracy. Oh, that you will
Oh, that
bless
you
me
would bless me
indeed.
indeed and enlarge my
Enlarge my
territory.
territory.
That's right. There it
There you
is. Yep.
go. What a beautiful thing, Tracy. And would you read it for me? Because of course you're a woman and with a beautiful voice. And
Okay.
please read it for me, if you would do that for me, please.
Okay. It is the prayer of Jabez. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain.
I don't even remember how many times I've read that, and my daughter. Do you remember why you sent me that prayer? Was it for something special, or do you remember, Tracy?
Do you remember, or are you asking me?
I'm
Like,
asking
is
you. I
because
don't.
you don't remember? I think what was happening was my life was kind of growing exponentially, and I said to you, I got this little book, The Prayer of Jabez, and I have been, it turned it into a little book. And I said, and I've been reading it, and I've been saying the Prayer of Jabez every day. And now my life is like growing exponentially. It was just, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. It was like I was getting more and more in a space where I, there, I was having an opportunity to be more impactful with more people, you know. And so that's, I think, where that was coming from. And you said, well, where is that? What is that? And I read it to you, and then you started to do that. But I'm telling you that if you keep praying the prayer of Jabez, your life will get big.
I do remember you did say
Well,
something about
yes,
that, even that you of course you play the guitar. You're a musician, right? You play the piano or the guitar.
yes, I do.
And you said something about that you're going to church or something happened with a group of
Oh,
people
right.
that you were playing for a larger audience, something like that, Tracy. You
Right.
remember?
I was. There was a retreat called the Walk to Emmaus, and I was the music director of that weekend. It was a 4-day weekend retreat, and I was responsible for all of the music. And so there's, a bunch of like 50, 60 people there going away on a retreat. So, and that was me just preparing. Probably I might have been talking to you about. I was preparing the music for that.
Yeah, and you know what? When I was saying that prayer, I kept thinking, and I don't know what was your interpretation, and I don't know if we should interpret a prayer, but it was not really to enlarge my territory in terms of having more houses or things like that.
Right, 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 right. It's the impact
Exactly.
that you have. Yeah.
And maybe this is the day when I will start, just reading it again, saying it every night because I don't know what happened with it. I know that we changed refrigerators, and maybe that's why when I
Oh,
lost it, and that happened about a year and a half ago. We used to have it right there in front of us, and I was reading it like every day. Hey, you know what? Like a year and a half ago is when this Frecuencia de Tres started. About that time. So you see, I have a very good reason to say thank you to you
right.
for.
It will increase your reach. It doesn't, enlarge my territory doesn't mean I have a mansion. It just means it will increase your reach and to have an impact on other people in that
Well, my
regard. Yeah.
friend. And by the way, I love the pink. Is that that's not a suit, right? This is like a blouse. What is
No,
that?
it's a shirt. It's a
It's a
blouse.
shirt.
Yeah.
What is a blouse? What is the
It's a
difference?
blouse. I don't know. It's a blouse. Okay.
It's a shirt. So Tracy, I do have this question for you, and I'll let you go with this. Now that you're retired, and after all those beautiful conversations with you, where we talked about everything, and I remember you were like, "Man, Jose, I don't know if I'm having second thoughts about retirement," and you had your concerns about it.
I did.
So it's not really a question about what is happening now. It's like looking back. Now that you retire and doing all this, what would you have done differently from any like top one, two, three pieces of advice for us that will get there, and me not that far away. It's getting there. The any realization from that retirement experience about life, anything like you would like to share with me and our friends.
For me, I feel like I was all about work. I defined myself probably by work. So, not working anymore, having to evaluate, what does that mean? Where's my ego involved in all this? Where, what does not working really mean, right? Um, I just think that if I were to do it a little bit differently, I would have evaluated my priorities. I would say to everybody should probably just take a good hard look at their priorities because you're demonstrating them every day by how you spend your time. And when I would spend my time I would spend a lot of time at work. So I would say since I've been retired, one of the things that has been really important to me is spending quality time with my friends and family and the folks that really have always meant something to me that maybe I probably might have put on the back burner because I thought, oh, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be there. I'm just going to get this thing done for work. I'm going to go do this or whatever. But I would just say, um, just to take a good hard look at what your priorities are, and are you really devoting the time that you really want to your priorities, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that makes total sense to me because that's who not only Tracy Smith was. That's a lot of us spend. Tracy is a
Right,
lot of our lives just doing that.
right.
And now listening to you, I wonder if you're like, man, was that really time well invested? I mean, I had to do it. We need to, we need to earn some money.
Right.
But I think there is something that we can do. I'm doing it now. Is balance and is doing the things that you also love. and
Right.
enjoy, like doing
But
this.
holding your own feet to the fire because I would never, like there was always something else that came up that I needed to take care of this right now, right? But do I really need to take care of that right now? So I would just say, how are you demonstrating your priorities?
And you
I
said
mean,
it, and with friends. Go ahead, you go.
no, I'm just, how are you demonstrating your priorities? We all say, oh, our priorities are our family, our blah, 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 blah. But really, when you step back and take a good hard look at, 24 hours of a day or of a week or, whatever is a month, you know, are you demonstrating that they are a priority? That's all.
And you are like you're making me think about that, Tracy. I'm listening, and it's something that we have to pay attention to, because and even younger people who are listening to this, because really we think that that's life, and man, in the end, I don't even know if that's really 30%. It should be 30% of your life. Your life should be a lot of the other things, but you're totally right. How do you not how do you list your priorities? How do you demonstrate that's the key word here? Do you that's the way you live your life, like really spending time and investing your time and energy
Right.
and love
Right.
doing those things. Thank you for sharing, Tracy. So, my friend, I hope that someday we have. I've been talking to Catherine Mapes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. And we did talk about lots of things that were kind of even uncomfortable for both of us. Talking about race, about immigrants, and about things like that. So she was so phenomenal that I'm thinking about inviting her and having one of those where two or three or more, you know, gathering my name. That's gonna be one of them, Tracy. So I hope that you're okay joining us when we invite Catherine Mapes.
I would love to do that. I think that would be a great conversation.
Are you still talking to her often?
I just had a conversation with her today. We meet every month.
Oh wow, that is so. Yeah, you were always like really, really close. So yes,
Yeah.
that's my plan to do something with Catherine too. So Tracy, I'll say it again. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I know that you were hesitant at the beginning with the video, but look how beautiful you are. You're like the opposite example. You know when presidents like Obama, when they start the presidency, 4 years later they look all messed up, like they got like 20 years older. You really look amazing, Tracy. Your energy and the level of stress, I can tell you, if I've seen you with a stress level of 9, I see you with a stress level of 0.1 right now.
That's right.
So again, thank you to all of you who spend a good 38 minutes listening to us. We'll be back. Thank you for your
So,
time.
Jose, can I just end it with one thing?
Absolutely, it's all yours.
I see you.
Ah, Tracy, no. Ah, Tracy. Thank you, my friend. I love you,
I
Tracy.
love you too.
And we'll talk again. Thank you for doing this.
Bye bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye, Tracy.
Bye bye.
Bye.